Did you went to school in Hong Kong?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So
oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was born in Hong Kong. I didn't move to England until I was 16, but I've got British parents.
What?
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, so this is something I wanted to talk to you about. Why Canada? Right? You're living in Canada right now, or you're staying in Canada, right?
I'm currently staying in Canada, but I live in the UK.
Okay, yeah. So can we talk about why you went to Canada?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So it just goes back to wanting a little bit of a change. I was working from a small cramped office in the south of England, and it was brilliant for a while. But it kind of got a bit old, and we were working with some of the guys who were local there, other developers, and that sort of arrangement kind of fell apart a little bit, so I wasn't able to see them so much, which was also kind of a good thing to be in the area. Yeah. And as I said, my wife finished her PhD, and rather than her getting another job in the UK, we thought, why don't we take the opportunity to travel around a little bit and go see a bit more of the world. We've been in, as I said, I was born in Hong Kong. I moved to the UK at 16. I've got British parents, British passport. And then so I spent 15 years in the UK, and that was kind of, having been outside the UK, I knew that there was kind of a lot more out there that I wanted to see. It's a big world, and being fortunate enough to travel to places in support of the game, to various locations and stuff, expos and things like that. And again, my wife also, she was desperate to kind of go traveling or backpacking. But because Adventure Pals wasn't finished, that wasn't something I could really do. So we thought, right, why don't we move somewhere for a while, set up shop somewhere where we can do those things, but kind of I can work during the week. And so I know a lot of people do what's called digital nomading, where they move to, say, Thailand, and they work on their laptops from the beach. That was something we thought about, but
that sounds so cool.
Yeah, but that would mean that she'd have to take kind of a career break just as she finished her PhD.
Yeah.
So we kind of looked into it, and we thought about different places, and we found Vancouver, so she works in the kind of environmental field, just to kind of quickly explain it. So here there's a huge amount of industry for that. It's very, very environmentally conscious. There's a lot of NGOs and companies and things here. That's good for that. Plus, there's a huge indie game scene in Vancouver. It's amazing.
I know. I was going to talk about that.
Right. So we can get onto that in a sec for sure. But it's also incredibly beautiful. You can kind of, there's so much wildlife here. It's just an amazing part of the world. And we moved at the beginning of the winter, and my goodness, it almost broke us. It was just raining nonstop, and we thought, we're from the UK, we can handle rain. Not like they have it in Vancouver. It's a little different.
Wow.
Yeah, but the summers are here now, and it is blazing hot, and it is incredible. So we're really happy here. We might have to move along again soon. And obviously our family's base is still in the UK, and Massive Monster's still based in the UK. So,
well, I think that a lot of indie game lovers would be surprised by how many games come out of Canada. It's wild. A lot of my indie game friends are from Canada, and their studios they're funded by the government, I think.
That's right.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, so it depends.
What's that all about?
It depends which state or province you're in. Mm-hmm. So I can't remember which one it is, but some of them offer things like up to 50% of your employees' salaries back in tax credits.
That's wild.
I think that's Toronto. And then there are all sorts of crazy, amazing program funding things for game development that are based here, which is just so good. And so, so like I mentioned, Clay, who made Don't Starve It here, also Matt Thorson's here, who made Towerfall, of course, and Celeste. And I mean, those are just kind of the two that popped to my head, but there's also a bunch of mobile phone game developers like Hothead Games and others that are all based in Vancouver, which is a tiny city. So it's a really cool place to be if you're making video games. And so they have meetups like Full Indie, which if anyone's here, I definitely recommend you can go. I went along kind of by myself, so kind of didn't know quite what to do. I didn't know anyone, and then I kind of pulled out the Adventure Pals, and everyone kind of flocked around, and it was fantastic. I got to meet lots of people. I think if you until people see your game, they don't really know is this guy for real or not? Like, is he, well,
Yeah.
so at least I got that out and that was great. And then recently we had Twitch Vancouver where the Adventure Pals was also featured, and that was full of amazing people as well. So I got to meet a whole bunch of people there as well. So like, it's great. Like there's a lot of indie game stuff happening up here.
Yeah. So you're a well-traveled guy. You've been in the North America, Europe, and then you grew up in Asia, which is wild. You want to tell me about Hong Kong?
Yeah, I mean, Hong Kong was just a brilliant place to grow up in.
Yeah.
It was, I think it's really different now. My parents are still there, and they tell me that it's different. It's a different place now. Like when I was there, it was kind of,
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
yeah, right. So the handover was in 97, and I was born in 86. So I had like a good 10, 11 years of growing up there. Although we had a year or two in Lhasa in Tibet, when my parents, they kind of like to travel around as well. They ran like the Holiday Inn in Lhasa in Tibet.
What? That's awesome.
I was a toddler in Tibet, and I had blonde hair, and all the locals would like touch my hair.
Who's this white guy?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
What is this crazy? He's like, he looks old, but he's a baby. What? Why has he got white hair? So that was really cool. So it was a brilliant place to grow up. Like it's very like tech advanced, very international. I went to an international school. Mm-hmm. Most of my friends were from all over the world. Really from all over the world. So I think my best friend for a while was Malaysian. I had a friend from Nigeria. I had my Dutch best friend as well for a while. And from obviously from Hong Kong as well. So it was an amazing kind of melting pot. So when I went to the UK, it was a bit of a culture shock, where it's a much less integrated society. And maybe I was fooling myself a little bit because it was an international school. So really it was a Western environment. But it was very bizarre coming to the UK, where there's a very different attitude, or at least in the school that I went to, towards people from different countries and different backgrounds and things like that. But yeah, and then it's a lot of fun. You can get up to loads of trouble when you're a kid as well, because it's very safe. Like there's great transport, so you can go off, have beach parties and sneak into bars and do all sorts of fun stuff.